Okay, I'd like to call the City of Elkhorn Plan Commission, June 2nd, 2022, 6 o'clock meeting to order. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. Roll call, please.
Meinel,
Here.
Geisling,
Here.
Boardman,
Here.
Stocko,
Here.
Hunter,
Here.
Watke,
Here.
Lechner.
Here. Next, we have approved the minutes of May 5th, 2022. Everybody had them in their packet. Do I have a motion?
Move to be approved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussions on the minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes passed for May 5th, 2022. First on the list is the Harold D. Beck Trust, Jeff Munkel applicant, east side of Petrie Road, north of Palmer Road, ETP certified survey map for the town of Geneva. Everybody seen that in their packet? Bonnie, do you have anything to add on that, or?
Nothing to add to my staff report, other than, after this meeting.
Questions for Bonnie on that? Do I have a motion? We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any question or discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Meinel,
Yes.
Geisling,
Yes.
Boardman,
Yes.
Stocko,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Watke,
Yes.
Lechner.
Yes. Motion passed on the CSM for Harold DeBeck Trust and Jeff Munkel. Next, we have the James Schoberg, Kyle Deschner applicant, 17 and 19 South Wisconsin Street. It's a conditional use permit. If you'd like to come up and kind of explain, then I'll open the public hearing after that.
I know I look like a talking head above this, but my name is Sarah Deschner, and I'm the representative. Kyle Deschner had a prior commitment tonight. So the conditional use permit application is so that we could take 19 South Wisconsin Street, which is part of the J. Roberts menswear store. It is still going to be a clothing store, but to that portion, we would like to add bourbon tastings and some very limited, small-scale bourbon for purchase, like little known distilleries, not stuff that you get in liquor stores, some private label, and be able to sell that as personalized groomsmen's gifts and other parts of gift baskets and things. And the reason that we would like to do this is that it's hard to continue to be a retail store in an online environment. Shoppers today like an experience, and so this is kind of a shopping experience. Maybe you've heard of women's clothing stores doing the wine and mimosas while people are shopping. This would be a similar experience tailored for men as well. It's not a full-blown liquor store. It's not a full-blown bar. It's so that people can come and have a unique shopping experience in downtown Elkhorn. We did provide a drawing. We just got the updated drawings from the architect today that show that there would be very minimal soft seating inside the 19 side. I don't know if that were included in your packet because we still have a lot of inventory. It's a primarily a clothing store. And so we would be looking at being able to offer, obviously, the restrooms, and there's minimal in terms of modifications that need to be done to the building to be able to offer this as well. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep.
Next, I'll open a public hearing for the conditional use permit. Anybody here for public hearing? Do have a letter that was received, and I want to read that in so it's on the record. It's to it whom may concern, in reference to the public hearing being held before the Plan Commission of the City of Elkhorn on June 2nd, as the owners of the building located at 17 and 19 South Wisconsin Street in Elkhorn occupied by J. Roberts Menware, we fully support Kyle Deschner's application for a conditional use permit for liquor sales and consumption. It has become a trend in better stores, menswear, bridal shops, and many other industries to offer complimentary or purchased alcohol for group events. This could take the form of, for example, offering personalized bottles of bourbon for purchase as groomsmen's gifts, serving a glass of wine or beer while a wedding party waits for fittings, or during special events. As Kyle was told by the city that there was a license available, he proceeded to complete months of paperwork, inspection, architect drawings, etc., at considerable expense to him. He has gone through all the proper channels, and it is our belief that he should be granted this license as promised. Kyle is doing everything he can to promote our downtown Elkhorn and create destinations. He has 3 years' experience as a food and beverage manager at Lake Lawn Lodge and was in control of an $8 million business, so he knows the liquor industry. Please join him in making Elkhorn a more inviting place to be. Sincerely, James Schoberg and Marilyn Schoberg. Is there anybody else for public comment? I'll call it the second time. And I'll call public comment for the third time. You declare this public hearing closed now. Next, you move on to the conditional use permit, the recommendation.
I'm not quite sure where to start with this one. We did receive, like, Ms. Deschner mentioned that this new site plan, but we have not really had a chance as a staff to review it because it just came in this afternoon. In my initial conversations with Kyle, he indicated that in the property that is identified as 19, which is in, do you have the new drawing? Does
We have the
everybody
drawing, or at least
The
I
new,
do.
the new drawing that they just submitted?
I got it today.
Okay.
I don't know if Plan Commission members have
Plan
it.
Commission, I don't think did get it. Oh, we got some copies here. We
But
can.
in their initial discussions with me, they indicated that in the building that's, if you're facing the building from the street, it would be on the right side, it's 19 South Wisconsin, that was going to be where they were going to have a small little bar set up to serve the bourbon or the other alcoholic drinks, and that they would also in that side of the building have the ability to buy the gifts of the liquor in the gift baskets or whatever they might be. But apparently, in the discussion at the committee meeting about the liquor license, there were some questions that came up, which I'm going to defer to the more experts on that part of it, because there would also have been people walking into the other side of the building and still consuming alcohol on that side. So there was apparently some concern about that. I had recommended we table this evening, but I think we still need to discuss it, at least, and so we understand all the ramifications of if you did a conditional approval, subject to them being able to get the appropriate liquor licenses, or if that seems appropriate to the Plan Commission and the city attorney, actually.
So, just to kind of bring everybody up to speed, as I said when I arrived late, that it was cramming basically for this when I got here. I looked up and saw the time. A couple of things, as Bonnie points out, there's an opening between the two establishments, and if you're going to do that, and it's going to be perceived as two different establishments, that's one thing. You can't, because our ordinance don't allow it. Number two, if it was going to be a single establishment, I guess I'd have to look into that a little bit farther. I don't know how to think of that, because you got two addresses with two entrances. So our code ordinances require, and we've made a number of applicants do this, build literally a concrete block wall between them. That's up to council if they want to change that approach, but it's been an approach in the city for quite a while. And there are policy reasons from the past as to why that's there. Also, I'm interested in knowing whether the applicant would still want to pursue the project, even if they had to use if they had to obtain one of the paid licenses. I think reserve is the correct terminology. So if they wanted to get a reserve license, I believe that costs us $10,000. And if that's the case, then this could be more seriously considered, because right now, I know that the issue is gonna come up in front of council, and they're basically pretty much got a recommendation from their committee to issue the existing remaining available license that you don't have to pay for to another applicant. So that would be up to the applicant, I guess, if they want to spend a bunch of money and changes to their shop and not have a chance of getting a license unless they paid for it. But that's something that we just have to know. So that's
You can come up, Sarah.
To address the concerns in respectively, the first concern was separating the two locations. If you look at the drawing, there is a door or a locked gate. Again, this was on it, so if it's something that we would need to know if there's a specific requirement, what that requirement needs to be, but that is something that we expect. We just don't know what the extent of the requirements are to separate the two. The inventory,
on to the second
Yes.
one. Let's address that one so that we knock these down one at a time.
sure.
Right now, it's not just a gate or a door, it has to be a wall.
Okay.
So that would have to be enclosed.
Okay, a concrete block wall or an interior wall?
A wall that no one can get through. It's not, you
Okay.
can't open a door, you can't unlock anything.
Okay,
can't
so
be
it
gotten.
cannot be adjoining.
A
So
solid.
anyone with a liquor license, you cannot have an adjoining door to another property.
Correct. Think of Frank's and the liquor store that they have next to it.
Mhm.
They wanted to have a walkthrough so people could go back and forth between the two stores, and the council denied them that.
Okay, okay. That's good to know, and that's certainly something that we are amenable to. As with regard to your second question, Kyle is waiting the outcome of the full recommendation of the city council or the vote of the city council next week, Monday. But he is not excluding anything in terms of what his business plans are. He does have a very uh, energetic and dynamic vision. He's 22. He is quite an entrepreneur. He is very successful. He graduated from college with no college debt. He has quite a will, and he's very committed. So he has a very impeccable record. If you talk to anyone at Lake Lawn Resort about his responsibility, he was promoted to a supervisor at 18. He became the food and beverage manager at 19. He worked there through his college years. That's part of how he paid for college. So I think he's very interested in investing. Whatever he does, he throws himself into wholeheartedly. So that being said, his ultimate business goal is to have a liquor license and grow this vision. We have been to stores in Vegas and in New Orleans and very upscale men's stores that this is an experience. It's not a place of wild liquor consumption. It is very tasteful. The clothing is expensive. You don't want to have people spilling red wine or bourbon on a $100 shirt or a $500 suit. So that's his ultimate goal. As far as the cost of the improvements, it is in Kyle's future plan to purchase the building once he has the actual business paid for. These improvements, in terms of adding an ADA accessible restroom and an exterior door on the back entrance of 19 with a crash bar that opens outward, those are improvements that are only going to improve the building. That's a safety thing, right? Having an exterior door that opens by pushing out. So these are all improvements that enhance the value of the property. Thank you.
Those comments make me want to agree with Bonnie's recommendation even more to table, because if he's waiting to find out, it may be that our deliberations would be obviated by waiting for that outcome.
But I do agree with Ward that, and it's always been that way, like, you use Frank's as an example, we've got an example of a gas station on the north end of town, and they wanted to have packaged goods, to go out. And they are currently in the process of building a building next to their building, and they have to have a separate entrance. It can't be through the gas station, and that's why there's no beer or wine or liquor in the gas stations or the grocery stores in Elkhorn, so staying with that. And I noticed on the application, you had both addresses, both sides. So it would have to be, you can only have one address on the liquor license. But
Questions or discussion?
I think I split. At this time, it's not a no or it's not a delay. It's just to get things straight with Bonnie and then find out what happens on Monday.
July 7th, huh?
After June 16th, after the council. Motion to table it?
Wait, hold on.
Procedural question then.
Yes.
Since we just held the public hearing.
I'll look into that, Bonnie, to be sure. My gut is yes, you'd have to do a second public hearing, but
New motion that we table it until the July 7th, is that right? Meeting?
Second? We have a motion and a second to table till July 2nd meeting? 7th, I'm sorry, July 7th. Do we have any further questions or discussion? Roll call, please.
Minell,
Yes.
Geisler,
Yes.
Boardman,
Yes.
Stocko,
Yes.
Hunter, Wettke,
Yes.
Lechner.
Yes. Motion passed. So it'll be on July 7th so that we can get it in for the public hearing and we can get everything straightened out there. Thank you. Next, we have the Eric Jones 4367 LLC owner, Tony and Tom Larson, Teramy Builders applicant, the northeast corner of State Highway 67 and I-43 north of the DMV Center. This is just a project concept review. Tony and Tom actually met with Adam and I a few weeks ago and kind of brought this to our attention and wanted to see if we thought it was worth bringing to Plan Commission and Council. And we kind of looked at it and thought it looked like a nice plan maybe. So we wanted to bring it here so you guys could look at it and give them any feedback on this before they pursue any farther. And it is going to Council on Monday for the same presentation, so.
Yeah, I'm Ryan Cardinal, president of Cardinal Engineering, representing the Larsons. I'm going to go on a little side rant I'll respect your time, 30 seconds. This is about Geronimi, not myself, but I started Cardinal Engineering 6.5 years ago, and I used to work for Kapoor, your city engineer. And the Larsons were one of my first clients. And I started with an Elkhorn mailing address out of my house. I'd like to say I'm like the Amazon of civil engineers. I don't know what that actually looks like, but that's me. The fact that I started here out of Elkhorn and now as I've grown as a business and that they've grown as a company and I get the rare opportunity to present their project here in Elkhorn where I started, it's a real privilege. And they are one of my first clients and now one of my top clients. And it's a real unique opportunity to get to do this. And they really honed in their product here, and it's a great project that they're presenting. That's a long-term investment into the community here in Elkhorn. If you want to pull up the site plan, there's a few things on here again that I just love to be able to be a part of. You'll see it's many apartment buildings, but you'll notice the thing that you lack on this site is hard surfaces. If you kind of mentally picture green to paved or a roof, it's much under, and that's because they've mastered underground parking. Is this 2 levels on this site? This site, it's 1, so they're gonna have 1 level of underground parking. And again, in most If you talk to most contractors, they can't make the economics work, but they've mastered a system that makes the economics work where they can get underground parking. And again, and I know Elkhorn well, stormwater is always a concern here. And the great thing about what they do here is they minimize their hard surfaces by getting the parking underground. So you see a lot of green space, which significantly reduces the amount of stormwater retention that we'll need with a project like this. The other thing that they do is all the amenities of these buildings. They're great. They're great apartments. These aren't. These bring in great residents into the city. They mastered all of their trash interior of the building. They do trash chutes and compaction, and it's all underground in their parking. So you don't see massive dumpsters all over the place that create trash and wind debris. And then the refuse companies that they partner with come in and get it from underground, or roll it out and get it out, and then it's all back underground again. Their outdoor amenities are fantastic. They always, yeah, if you can get that back up. They have outdoor grilling stations that are hooked up to gas lines to the buildings so that the residents have outdoor grilling stations to use, and they don't have to haul around their own grills. They're not allowed to put grills on the decks. They're not allowed to set them outside on their patios. It's already set up and a part of the amenities of the development. A couple other things, if we can get there at some point. That's fine. Do you have your board, Tony? Can I? So you'll see once it's up, but they have this big, large open space, and that's, again, really important to their developments when they do these projects, to have great outdoor amenities to their residents. Again, just draws great residents into the community. Preliminary plans, we have pickleball court, tennis courts, volleyball courts, basketball courts, all these things, again, amenities to make a great community for these apartments. Walking trails are another thing they typically always include. Again, they love to see people use it and want to be a part of the community. Clubhouse is always included. Right now we're planning a pool as well with the clubhouse that the residents get access to. And again, it's laid out again for easy access that they found. They know how many parking stalls they need per unit that they've found over the years of doing this. And so they've got this laid out between the outdoor parking and the underground parking that makes sense for all the residential units in these apartment buildings. And then also they have a dog park area. Again, that's always open to discussion if the city has any interest into it. There's other developments where they've opened that up completely if they want city access to it, or it can be private to just the residents here as well. Yeah, we're pulling up some of these floor plans and then our exterior elevation renderings. Again, they do a beautiful job of making these. If you happen to be driving out towards Beloit, they've got these, is it finished, the new building? Yeah, so those are it'd be kind of a similar look as what they're doing. You'll see it off the interstate on your left-hand side if you're heading towards Beloit, Hawks Ridge out there. And then Hawks View over in East Troy as well. So yeah, well, I can open it up to what questions you have about what these developments look like and our preliminary conceptual view. But again, this is a great builder that's not a corporation coming in and just popping these things in and you never see them again. They're headquartered in East Troy, minutes away, and they're a part of the community. So again, it's a real privilege to be able to present this, and I hope that I get to see it come to fruition. So open to whatever questions you have about the development.
You had said, or someone said 1 story, but the pictures are 3.
It's
so-
1 story of underground parking.
Oh,
So you're going to
okay.
have, you're going to have entry-level residences and then up. It's 1 story. They've done multiple stories of underground parking because they're so great at it. But this one, we think we only need 1 story.
If I remember right, in our meeting, when Adam and I met, could you read how many units for the apartments, and then there's gonna be a seniors section too, senior center?
Yeah, the darker browns
Just senior housing, not like a assisted? Not assisted, no. Okay.
Then the front part is gonna be some commercial
Yeah, they have.
included in, off of 67.
It shows on that, there's only one exit and enter. One way in and one way out. Am I right or wrong?
It's a boulevard. Yeah, one, right now on the concept, we have one, connection point to 67.
Plans to look at any other way, in and out?
First floor is ADA accessible, so you
Yeah,
can.
there's definitely, I mean, there's a percentage.
And each apartment was one bedroom to three bedrooms out, or?
One bedroom all the way up to
Four bedroom.
There's only, I think, two.
Do you know what you're looking at for target rents?
For our one bedrooms.
Thought is that this is kind of the gateway to the city. I think in those units, you're gonna get your, kind of your nationals, your Jimmy Johns and your smaller guys like that. You'll probably get a plus, with the second story of retail behind it, I think you're gonna get more hair salons, local, you know, delis, that kind of stuff that will kind of go behind.
Second locations for Starbucks and Quick Trips right here in Elkhorn? Okay.
You never know.
It's Quick Trip's,
Or Dunkin' Donuts,
that's
or
Quick
any
Trip's
other.
business plan.
Oh, yeah? You get
They
both
build on
ends of the
either
city?
side of the road, too.
I was just
Yeah, they
curious.
want you in both directions.
Right. But this is, I mean, it's an easy access right off the internet. I mean, you must have all thought it. You drive into Elkhorn, there's a giant farm field right next to the DMV. It's an underutilized area. I know you've tried industrial there in the past, but the groundwater issues made it tough. And I think, in my opinion, your industrial should stay in the industrial park. And this should be more retail living. You have people living here. You have easy access. You don't have apartments right now on your interstate for commuters.
You guys already looked at soils and done any testing to make sure that the dewatering won't be necessary and all that?
We ordered the report, it's due back here soon, but I've watched some of the other developments that have come through and looked at the property, and I know the issues that they've had. And I think that's one reason why we looked at the one story of underground parking, so we can deal with that accordingly.
One thing that I brought up, I just thought it was a nice project for the area. I know we've had issues before of neighborhoods. If we bring a big project this, well, it's not a neighborhood. It's gonna look nice from the freeway. And I think it's the right area if we're looking at this type of project.
You know, I think my only worry is going back to kind of what I think you had touched on, is that, you know, obviously with the amount of traffic that's gonna start to come in, and you got one way in, one way out, hopefully maybe there is some kind of option to kind of create possibly another entrance or exit to kind of, you know, control that traffic. But again, you know, maybe I might be overthinking it, but how many total units was this?
We'll work closely with your city engineer and make sure that's a nice, safe entrance for everybody and controls that traffic accordingly.
Sure, we would require a traffic impact analysis and then Tesla's review.
With this, with the,
Do you recall who did Love's TIA? Daddy? All right, that's who I typically use, so they'll already have that background data then.
Look into the option of going, was that Getson Street? Yeah.
Very preliminary concept. TIA will definitely help give teeth to that.
Adam, would you like to add anything?
The only thing I was just going to say is, part of the reason for tonight was because Toronto and me just wanted to have, some preliminary feedback from the planning commission on whether or not the commission even thinks having a large project like this in the city is a good idea. So I know there's some questions about, obviously, accessibility, and that's good questions. I'm sure they'll work on these issues going forward. So this was just a kind of a preliminary presentation, like I said, just to get some ideas as to whether you guys think this is a good use of that parcel. So
I think it is. I think
You know,
it
it
is.
meets some of the needs that I know Adam's heard from school district and everything about places to live and housing. I mean, so it does help out on that.
and we didn't practice this, but that's a perfect segue, Mayor, to just today we had a new library employee who was having to live in Delavan for a while because he can't find housing in the city. So, and I know from what the library director said, wasn't necessarily his first choice of a place to live. So, I can personally attest to the difficulty of finding housing as well. So, we definitely, and that's when I met with the school board and when I met with the school superintendent, very first thing he said was, we really need more housing in the city. So, and I know he's going to come talk to the council and give the same speech in, I think, July. Actually, might be, I think it's the second meeting in June here. But so yeah, residential is big need for the city right now, and obviously this parcel's been has been available for quite a while and has been underutilized. So.
Commission have any other suggestions or?
I think it's a great idea.
Nobody asked. That's the obvious question, you guys all gotta be thinking it. Right?
Well, I
They
do-
estimate between 85 and 100.
Okay. I think Adam and I have talked a little bit too about this will help our TID district too. I mean,
It is in TID 4. Now, granted, it's also going to depend on how much financial incentive and support the developers are going to need for this project. But it's probably TID district that we would have to revise the concept plan because originally this was designated for industrial, but that can be done. So this is a mixed use development. And there isn't any other residential development in this mixed use district right now. So the 35% cap hopefully shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Comprehensive plan be changed?
I think that could be done at any time, but I would certainly defer to Bonnie on that.
We're not limited.
We don't have a limit, but that is part of what would have to be done because the land use plan is not designated.
Much better place for a gateway into Elkhorn than what we currently have.
Didn't the city plan for Market Street to completely surround the city at one time?
That was discussed in the past.
was it?
Yeah.
So if that was the case, it would go right through this. If it followed 43 like it is now by the high school.
I don't know how you'd get through the rest of the area.
I don't know either. I mean,
Yeah,
it's your
I
plan,
think-
not mine.
yeah. I think that was the talk, but I don't think it ever got pursued all the way.
Kind of like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as Plan Commission, everybody's kind of on board. It looks,
I think it's a great plan, yes. And
Yep.
that's
Is it a
actually
gated
doing-
community?
No, it wasn't gonna be gated.
currently you have one in East Troy that's been done, right? And another one that's getting done. In McQuanigo, you're just starting? Is that- Hopefully. Yeah, if anybody of you want a tour, I mean, we can get you their contact information and. But I think it's positive and got feedback here and kind of, we'll see what council, how they feedback on Monday and. Any other questions, discussion? Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Next, we have the general discussion items, the proposed ordinance number 22-07, amend chapter 17, Elkhorn Municipal Code to regulate electric vehicle charging stations. And this is just kind of a discussion. You guys seen it in your packet, the whole ordinance. And we will have to schedule a public hearing for this, but we just wanted to bring it forward to everybody and see what you guys thought.
And Mayor, if I might just ask one, or raise one issue to think about, and I don't know if you guys have some preliminary feedback, but in terms of locations, right now, the way the ordinance is written, the CUP would be permitted in a B2, B3, B5, B6, M1, and M2, so it'd just be business and industrial. I don't know what your thoughts are about adding other districts, in particular like public institutions. I could see, maybe in the future, school district decides to get some, I don't know, who knows, in the future. So that would be one thing. I don't know what your thoughts are in terms of if you want to expand where these charging stations would be permitted.
I think that is a good point. Maybe we should be able to include that part. I mean,
I can tell you that we just completed a trip from Elkhorn to Destin, Florida, so all through those states with the car. And the charging stations were typically, you'd find them more often in hotels, parking lots and that kind of thing. And they're almost always located next to restaurants and things that you can do. So you could kind of benefit the city, I think, by getting people that would be coming here to shop and to do things, including restaurants and things.
The ones we have now that have popped up that we didn't realize we had, I guess, most of us didn't, those would be just grandfathered in, correct?
Well, we don't have a supercharger station here, like a big station where people would come as a destination. What you have is ones in people's homes, and that's.
No, we got like three.
Quick Trip
Oh,
has-
Quick Trip has got
Yeah.
one? Okay,
and I think
Yeah.
Holiday Inn might have it too.
okay.
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't know that.
There's 2 or 3, I think, that are in town right now. That
Okay.
have been in operation, so.
I think that we should try to I'll take a look at those and make sure that my ordinance is consistent with those. If I see something that's an issue with them, then we should at least include that in part of our discussion. You don't
Okay.
want to have ones that are inconsistent if you can help it.
All right. That's all I.
Are we looking to take, sections out of the city so we can't have them? Or can we just open up to everything?
Well, I wouldn't think you'd want a supercharging station in a residential neighborhood, our, normal single-family home neighborhood. I doubt they'd ever want to put one there anyway, but most people that are in those neighborhoods, they don't want to have 10 cars parked, you know, in one section.
But would that limit if, you know, if I had a Tesla, would that limit me to charging in my own area?
Definitely not. That's not a supercharging station. Those are destination
Plug-in,
chargers,
right.
home chargers. I've got one in my garage.
I'm just saying, we're not saying those would be illegal.
They would not be illegal. Definitely not.
Are they legal now?
Yes.
Okay.
All you need is an electrical outlet.
Do we have any other questions or discussion on that? So would Plan Commission like to see that, which Adams brought up about putting in there too?
Yes, I think that's, might as well do that right away now, otherwise we're just gonna be changing it down the road. Because like you say, for the school district, I could see them at some point making a move for maybe the vehicles that they use on the grounds or whatever, you know what I mean, to go electric for a savings. So I think if we include what you said into what Ward has now, I think that'd be,
Then we would schedule a public hearing after that, the
Yeah.
changes.
Would it make sense to put it back where automotive station is? If we had to choose a place to go?
it's on the school property.
But I think the automotive, I think he's talking like a repair shop,
In the back.
which they might be already included in the,
That would probably be one of the districts that we've already got.
Yeah.
I think are you talking about adding like in more retail locations or?
I'm just thinking the students that may have an electronic car that would be on premises already.
About adding the institutional district to the list?
Yeah, I was just,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, that would accomplish that for the schools.
yeah, that would accomplish the school.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd include wherever they wanna put them then, right?
Should it be in front of the auto shop? Should it be over by the tennis courts or whatever?
That would
It
include
should
that
be
then.
where-
So,
And that would also apply to the county as well, so if the county in the future decides to do, you know, something electric, so.
Good with that.
everybody good with that then? Okay. Okay. Next, we have upcoming meeting, June 16th. We do not have one. It'll be July 7th at 6 o'clock. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.